All right. So I had this little interesting short pop-up for me on YouTube. I actually thought maybe they were taking Asmon's clip and then putting it with this MK picture, which I'm going to show you on Reddit. However, what's really interesting is that he's actually talking about Mortal Kombat here. So, yeah, let's play this.
This was a big mistake too. Look at this. What's so crazy about this is, like, how do you think this was a good idea even for a second? How do you think that really it's a huge mistake? Nobody wants to look at this shit. It's weird. And so that's it. I mean, I don't know why people don't get it. These people they're like mind fucking themselves into these realities that are just totally fucking distorted. These people are not even in any sort of a universe that makes sense even for a second. Nobody wants to play some like fucking 50-year-old lady. No, absolutely not. They want to play some hot 25-year-old chick with huge tits. And do you want to know the other reason why? Guess who plays Mortal Kombat? Dudes play Mortal Kombat. They don't want to play characters that look like their mom. Really, I mean, do you want to play Mortal Kombat or do you want to play The View?
This man is not lying, right? It's something that we've talked about for quite a long time on the channel. Is the slow decay, if you will, of essentially what has made Mortal Kombat great, which is why with the announcement of the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, especially a lot of us older fellows were highly excited because it's actually harkening back to the day where, you know, Mortal Kombat just felt like the metal of fighting games. It was hot babes, kick-ass dudes, awesome blood flying everywhere, great story, even for back then, you know. And now we get The View. That is the best way to explain it, right? And he's right. Nobody wants to play with characters that look like your mum or your older sister or anything like that. People can sit there and argue, oh, but we need to have realism in games. The funny part is, though, is that the harder and deeper that they try and push these types of narratives and wishes that they, you know, they think we all need, it never works. It never has worked, especially in franchises which were breaking the mold, like Mortal Kombat, which was the fighting game that actually forced, you know, like essentially an R rating system, I believe, in America at the time, right? Or a mature rating system, because it was so full on that they needed to have some sort of like proper, you know, video game governance for it. But we're also going to go check out the picture that was shared on Reddit. This could be interesting too. So this was from 5 days ago. It says from Mortal Kombat to geriatric combat. Listen, the reality is, though, whether we do it in a way that's like sort of, you know, a little bit obtuse, sounds a little bit naughty or sexist, the reality is, though, right, as just do, and he's right, like it's mostly dudes that play, but that doesn't mean anything, because I don't care whether you're a male or female that play it, if you're having fun, whatever, right? But don't be no damn tourist that comes in Mortal Kombat and demanding change, right? So that way, you know, everything has to just fit now your own worldview. That's not how it works. The artist creates the art, and therefore you should enjoy the art for what it is, not try and change it. Now, you might say to yourself, well, but Fate, what if the artists now are trying to do this? I mean, what if the artists truly believe in this new vision? And that's a fair point. It's just that they have a lot of years disproving that. They have a lot of years with Mortal Kombat being absolutely amazing and being the metal of fighting games. And then they change all that, right? Nobody cared that the women look like this. And to be fair, the men are also big buff, you know, look like they go to the gym. Guys like me and Asmon, we don't look like that. We don't give a shit, though. We don't sit there and go, well, you know what? We demand more bald, skinny, twink looking mofos or whatever, you know what I'm saying, right? Shout out to Asmon, right? It's great. you know, and as a World of Warcraft player, you know, that's how I just first discovered, along with my son, actually, that's how we first discovered Asmongold, through World of Warcraft. So, you know, nobody cared. And this is the thing. Other fighting games also have this too. This isn't just like a Mortal Kombat specific thing. They have had very sexy looking women in fighting games for decades. And I mean decades. I mean all the way back to the fucking 90s, late 80s. You look at everything from Capcom fighting games to SNK, like Neo Geo. They were in there. Nobody cared. And not just fighting games, just gaming in general. Nobody cared because it's part of the power fantasy, right? When chicks are cosplaying, they're cosplaying as these chicks at the top, not the ones at the bottom. Why? Because they find these women and how they dress very provocative, very sexy, right? And they want to see if they can nail that. I mean, just ask the people on The View to dress you. You're like, go get their wardrobe. What's the wardrobe people called? I don't know. Right, go get them to outfit you for the next Comic-Con or anime convention if you want to, you know, dress like you shop at fucking old age pension home, right? Because, you know, and like, honestly, like, to be fair, I'm looking at this and it's like, no, they're not geriatric. Obviously not. But a lot of them are way older. A lot of them are made to look way older and a lot more sort of either masculine or less feminine looking, right? There's nothing wrong with feminine women. There's nothing wrong with the femme fatale, right? It has worked for decades in gaming, and this has just been from a fringe group of weirdos that have been trying to push this out because for some reason they have convinced themselves, among with a bunch of other weirdos, that somehow women being sexy is a threat. It's not a threat. Might be a threat to how long you last, but that's another conversation we're not going to have today. Anyway, so I thought we'd come to Reddit and have a readie. It says, why are female characters made by American devs always so effing ugly these days? Do they hate women or what? They do. Just the beautiful ones. They love ugly, masculine, and fat ogres. Somehow, I feel like the community is at the bottom of all of this. They're pissed they don't have enough skills to be, yeah, whatever. I mean, to be fair, right, like, if you are part of, you know, part of this sort of group, right, then perhaps the reason why, and when I say part of that group, I mean like the LGBTQ, is because they obviously have, you know, like, there's a lot less population that are gay, right? And so what we have seen over time, I'm not saying they're responsible completely. I'm just saying that, like, certain people are responsible. Certain people are responsible because they are basically going, well, we need to try and get, like, say, straight dudes interested in like trans women, right? And how do you do that? Well, you make them look like, you make the dudes look like women, but nobody's fooled, right? Now, if you want to dress like that, you want to behave like that, that's on you. That's perfectly fine for you. Just, I don't want it rubbed in my face. I don't want it, you know, being pushed to the head of, you know, everything. I just want to enjoy stuff. I want to enjoy gaming, right? But what we've been finding for a long time now is that the majority has been losing out to the minority, right? So, for example, if there's a certain mechanic in a game that is really good, right, and 99 people, you know, in front of you out of the 100 love this mechanic, but that one person there doesn't like the mechanic, what's happening now is that one person is actually able to change that mechanic at the absolute detriment of the other 99. The other 99 suddenly lose out. They can't use that mechanic anymore. They can't access it, even though 99 out of the 100 love it. Because one person doesn't like it. Not liking something is not enough reason for it to change. Right? They always say ultra realism, BS, the average woman on the street aren't this hideous. That's true. And that is the part where we pity them. Actually, quite the opposite. It's the dev women who hate men. Know your audience, pretty much. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a product that is being sold, yeah? Right? How are you supposed to sell it to people that don't are not interested or not buying what you're selling? Because it is not part of what has made said franchise or game popular. Nobody wants to buy that crap. Right? And then when you don't buy it, you get further berated, like some naughty child. Oh, how dare you? Right? Oh, you're just a hateful person if you don't want to buy this. Like, no, this is very simple. This is my money. This is the product. If your product is shit, you don't get this. It's really simple. Right? You don't get this if this is garbage. Okay? Well, this is incredibly bad. Warner Brothers needs to clean house from the top down. This is what you do when you hate making money. From looking cool, sexy, and strong to looking old, ugly, miserable, and bitter, did the developers try to program themselves into the game? Yeah, these dogs are trying to normalize this stuff. No lie, I've never seen uglier faces ever, be it in real life or in fiction. Even Dad was kinder to the eyes. If you go back and you look at old games, like in the PS1 era, and the chicks in there basically had heads like squares. Right? They were hotter than this. How does that work? Right? Be attracted to postmenopausal women bigger. True. I'm sad that they fucked up design language to satisfy non-gamers. Our world characters used to feel all barbaric, savage, primitive, menacing, and reflected the culture and desert climate of barren, brutal Outworld. Now they just look like generic ninja. Well, no, it's not just that. Is that what they did with Outworld is that they tried to create Outworld like other parts of Earth. Outworld is, in theory, an alien realm. It has nothing to do. It might have humanoid people, as in people who look like humans, but they are not Earthrealmers. They are not immigrants from Earthrealm. They are not other cultures from Earthrealm. And this is what you saw immediately with Mortal Kombat 1, the latest game, is that they were absolutely mimicking other cultures from Earthrealm. It had no identity whatsoever. Make Outworld purple again, please. Right? Shit fucking sucks. Gee, I wonder what the people working on the game look like. Honestly, though, I never think it's a good idea to make the characters to look like they're voice actors, although it did make them more distinct at the same time. I think, to be perfectly honest, just to finalize, that they need to have more stylized art for fighting games, right? There's a lot of fighting games out there that are heavily leaning into their own stylized art style, right? Moving away from ultra-realistic looks. We need to move away from that, especially for Mortal Kombat. Right? Really lean into even almost comic book style. I've always advocated for John Tobias to be doing the artwork for another Mortal Kombat game in the future. Let's do that. Right? Let's make them pop out of the game and just not just like, you know, not just obviously the visuals and stuff, but the actual presentation of how the character moves, what their attitude's like. You know, are they moving in a certain way, a saucy, sexy way and stuff like that for the ladies or whatever? You know, not just the physical appearance, it's how they move in the game too. And NRS games, they seem to have this really weird animation or stances for the characters. This is terrible. This is fucking awful. So shout out for Asmongold for this take. And let me know what you guys think. And catch you next time. See ya.